Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to connect up loads of different controllers to the Wii U, the Nintendo Wii U. So all of these controllers were not designed to work with the Wii U, but by using various different adapters you will be able to get them all to work. Now, none of this will work natively. You do have to plug in adapters. Sometimes the adapters cost more than, for example, the proper controllers like the Wiimote and also the Wii U Pro controller. So this is more of an experiment. It's probably not something you're going to do in real life, but some people are curious to see what the U-Force looks like on the Wii U, or the Bongos on the Wii U, or a steering wheel on the Wii U, or the Nintendo 64 controller, etc. Sega, I've even done more controllers than you can see on this table here. So sit back, it's going to be quite a long video. What I've done is I've put down the timestamps all in the description, so if there's something that you really like the look of, then just look down in the description and you can jump straight to that particular controller. So sit back and enjoy. On the Sega Master System controller, we need to have it plugged into one of these Mega Drive to PC USB adapters made by Mayflash. That in turn gets plugged into the Cronus Max over here, and you have to program it, and then the Cronus Max gets plugged into a Brook Wii U to PS4 converter. Now, on this Mega Drive adapter here, you have to have the switch on the D input. And when it comes to the buttons on here, we're really limited to the games we're going to be able to play because we've only got the D-pad and 2 buttons. So what I've done is, I'm going to set it up for Mario Kart 8, and I've done this to accelerate, this to brake, but I've also done this to power up. So we're not going to get the full experience because we won't be able to drift around corners, but it is still playable. So let me show you some gameplay. You can see it moving around on the home screen there. So you can see I'm using button 2 to accelerate, D-pad left and right. Everything appears to be fine. There doesn't appear to be a huge amount of lag or anything. Seems to work okay. And if you watch this now, when I press button 1, it will do the power up, but it will also do the reverse. So now, let's say if I need to reverse, I can just hold it down and you can see it will go backwards. Right, okay, so let me show you the Sega Mega Drive controller working, or as my American friends will know it, the Genesis. So on the Sega Mega Drive controller, or the Genesis controller, you can see that we do have an extra couple of buttons. So this is going to be useful. So this is going to be the same as like our pause menu, and now we can drift around corners using C on Mario Kart 8. So what we have is the exact same setup as the Master System. The only difference is that now we're on X input when it comes to this little adapter here, and I've had to just reprogram the buttons differently because obviously we have an extra couple of buttons on here, but it's the same setup as before. So Mega Drive to USB into the Cronus Max, and then the Cronus Max into the Brook Wii U converter. Right, let me show you some gameplay on this. And you can see it's working there, and now watch, if I press button C, you can see it's now drifting around the corner. And also power up will be button 1, button A I should say, and also A will also be to brake and reverse. And this will be my pause menu. Right, okay, let's move on to the next controller. Here we have the original NES controller, the Nintendo Entertainment System controller, and this plugs in to this adapter here, again made by Mayflash. This is an NES to SNES adapter, and this plugs into the bottom of the Wiimote. So all that's happening is we've got the Wiimote synced up to the Wii U, and then this is mimicking a classic controller, a Wii Classic controller. So for this one here, I'm going to show you an old Wii game, which is going to be Super Mario All-Stars. If you have a look, you can see it moving up on screen there. Right, let's go to an old game. Let's go to Super Mario 1987. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change the selection down the bottom where it says Type A. I'm going to press Select and change it to Type B, and then we're going to have Dash and Jump. And again, although it goes through all these adapters, it still feels just as responsive as using the Wiimote itself. Okay, and button B is going to be to dash, you see. Okay, right, let's show you the SNES controller, same setup again. The SNES controller, or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System controller. So this is plugged into exactly the same setup as the NES controller. So we've got the Mayflash NES SNES adapter, and this plugs into the bottom of the Wiimote. So basically this is all just mimicking a Wii Classic controller. Let me show you some gameplay. So if you have a look, you can see it's moving around on screen there. Right, again, this is a Wii game. Let's go to Super Mario 3. So we're using A to jump and then B to dash. And again, it plays okay. I can't seem to notice much difference between this and playing straight with the Wiimote. Right, okay, let's move on. Now, a lot of the controllers in this video use this adapter here. It's a Brook PS4 to Wii U Super Converter. Now, you will have to do the firmware on this to allow the classic controller. When you go onto the Brook website and look for support, click on Wii U, then you will see there's 3 different types to download for this converter here. Go for the classic converter if you want to copy what I've done in this video. So we're going to plug it into the back here, but we have to actually sync it up with the controller. So at the moment you can see it's a solid green light. Well, what we have to do is we have to get ourselves a PS4 controller, and then we're going to be plugging it in via a USB cable into the back of it here. Now we have to do a weird combination of buttons, and you will see the green light will start to flash. We have to do square and X at the same time. We have to do down and left at the same time, and hold down L1 all at the same time. Now have a look at that green light. It's going to start to flash. There we go. Now I've put that into pairing mode. I now need to tap the sync button on the front here, and it goes to this bit here. Now just give it couple of minutes. I'm just going to keep your eye on that there at the same time. There we go. You can now see it's synced up here, and if I was to go to here, it's now synced up. There we go. Okay. So that's how we do it. Now that is the basis for the majority of controllers in this video. Now once it's synced up, we don't have to keep syncing it up again. If I was to unplug that now or turn the Wii U off, as soon as I turn it back on, it's automatically going to sync up again. So that now would just keep on working once it's synced up, unless you now connect this to a new piece of equipment, and then obviously you're going to have to resync it to this again. And now when you plug something else into it, sometimes it won't allow it first time. So this is the Magic NS adapter again, which is used in the majority of this video. When I plug it in here, right, that time it worked because you can see the blue light came on and this didn't flash. But sometimes when you do it, it doesn't allow it the first time. Okay, it's worked again then. Let me just unplug this, plug it back in. Now do it. Right, okay, it appears to be working all the time now. But often when you do it, the first time you do it, this will start flashing. No, it's working fine now. Let me try a different USB port. No, it's done it every single time. But if it doesn't work, just keep unplugging it and plugging it in until it does work. There we go. When I was about to give up, can you see there? It's flashing green and there's no blue light on here. So now that will not work. But if I just unplug that and plug it back in again, this time it has worked. So just bear that in mind, and then you can plug in your equipment or sync up the wireless, and then it will work. So here we have the Nintendo 64 controller. So with this one, it gets plugged into this adapter here. This is an N64 to PC USB. The other end of this terminates into a USB port, so it goes into the Cronus Max, which you have to program. Then the Cronus Max goes into the Wii U to PS4 Brook converter. Right, let's show you a little bit of Smash for the Wii U. So as you can see, the analog stick is moving around up on screen there. You can also use the D-pad to move around the place. There you go, so you can see it's working. Right, let's show you something else. Here we have the Nintendo GameCube controller. Now this one here will actually work with the Wii U when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Because if you have a look at the back here, you can see there's a little picture of a GameCube controller. But it will only work when you use an adapter, because obviously there's no ports on the Wii U for the GameCube controller. So we will have to use a GameCube to USB converter here. But it's only going to work with that one game. But yet, if you were to plug it in via a Brook Wii U to PS4 adapter, then you will be able to get it to work on loads of Wii U games and also Wii games as well. So because this is a very popular controller, I'm going to show you Mario Kart 8 working on the actual Wii U, and I'm also going to show you Mario Kart Wii working via the Wii part of the Wii U. Now on this one here, I've actually got it set to PC, not Wii U. Now with this, all these ports will work as player one. So yes, you can plug in other controllers, but they're all going to have the same functions as player one. So it might be handy if you want to, like for example, help a younger player out, then you could plug another GameCube controller in there, and then you will both be controlling the same character on screen. But you won't be able to plug 4 different controllers in to play 4 players on, for example, Mario Kart. So let me show you a bit of gameplay on this, because this is such a popular controller. I do want to show 2 games on this one. When it comes to plugging it into the back here, there will be 2 USB ports. Just use the black one. And the controls are exactly as you would expect them to work. So for example, I'm doing A to accelerate. I'm going to do the R up here to drift around the corners, like that. And then I'm going to do the L to do the weapon. And then I'm going to do B to brake and reverse. That one there is the pause menu. And it feels nice when you use the GameCube controller, it's so comfortable in the hands. I'm going to show you now Mario Kart Wii working as well. So the GameCube controller will work on the Wii as well. Now that's not a big deal, because obviously if you have the first Wii, then it has GameCube ports on it. But with the Wii U, you've got no way of using the GameCube controller when it comes to playing it on the Wii normally. Right, okay, let me get that set up. Right, now for the Wii, what I've done is I've set this up as player 2, so you can see the Wiimote is player 1, because we need this to get into the Wii. So what we're going to be doing is just going into the Wii here. I'm going to go TV and gamepad, but once we're actually playing the game, we're going to be using the GameCube controller. Right, press A to continue. And again, the controls are exactly where you would expect them to be. So for example, A to accelerate, B to brake and reverse, and then to use the power up I'm going to be using the big left analog trigger up here. So there we go, you see. And to drift around corners I'm going to be using the right analog. Right, okay, so I'm going to show you another controller now. So here we have the Donkey Kong Bongos. So believe it or not, there's actually quite a few buttons here. We've got two buttons on top and bottom. You can see the little dividing line. We've got another two buttons here, and we also have a button here and also a microphone, which is another button as well. So this just goes into the GameCube adapter here, GameCube to Wii U, and that goes into the Cronus Max. Obviously I've had to program it to get the buttons to do anything useful, and that goes into the Wii U PS4 Brook adapter. So I'm going to play Mario Kart 8 on this, and what it's going to be is this is going to be left and right. I can't remember which one, right and left or left and right. And this is going to be accelerate, this is going to be brake. When I tap the side, so with the microphone normally you clap with the real game or make a noise, I'm just going to be tapping it with my ring. That's going to actually do the power up, and then this one here is going to do the drifting around the corners. So let's see how I get on. Just using the Wiimote to actually get into the game. Right, because I haven't got up and down, I can't actually select any speed apart from 50cc. Right, here we go. Right, okay, so down here on the left hand side is right, and the top one is left. Okay, so let's do a drift. Okay, to use the power up, I'm just going to tap it. Believe it or not, it is actually quite playable. I know it's 50cc, so it's not going to be hard. But I am making it around the track okay. I'm currently in first place. Oh, not for much longer. Right, okay, so that's it. That's the bongos working on the Wii U. Let's do something else. To get an Xbox 360 controller to work, this is a wired one, you need to plug it into a Magic NS adapter. I've currently got this one set to blue mode, and then this gets plugged into a PS4 to Wii U Brook converter here. Now I have tried using a wireless one with the little wireless adapter that you get for your PC, and it's just not working. I can't get it to sync up. But let me show you a bit of gameplay on the wired one. Right, so as you can see, the hand's moving around there. Let's go to resume. And there you go, you can see Mario running around screen there. Right, let me show you another controller. To get a PlayStation 3 controller, first of all we have to connect it up with a USB cable, so remember this one is a mini USB, and then after that we will be able to unplug it to use it wirelessly. Now to get it to work we're going to need to plug in the Magic NS adapter set to blue mode, and that gets plugged into the Wii U PS4 Brook converter here. Now if we don't have this Magic NS adapter it will work in here, but it will only work as a wired controller, so I want it to work wirelessly, hence the reason I'm using this one. So all we have to do is plug in the USB port into there like so, turn this on, and you will see right now it has synced up. If I was to move this around you can see. And now once I unplug this you will see it will still work. So watch this, so it's flashing but then it goes to there, and now we can use it wirelessly absolutely fine. So let me show you a bit of gameplay with this. Okay, so now you can see we're completely wireless. I've removed the USB cable from both ends, and you can see now it's still running up on screen. Now remember, when you're using all these controllers, they're going to mimic the Wii U Pro controller, so the layout is going to be the same as the Pro controller. So remember, if it's telling you to press A, it means to press this button here. For example, A. Okay, you get the idea of it. Right, I'm going to show you a load of other controllers now. Okay, on this part of the video I'm going to do all these together because it's the same setup needed for each of them. So here we have the Xbox One S controller, this is the one with Bluetooth. Here we have the DualShock 4, which is a PlayStation 4 controller. These will both work wirelessly in this setup. We've got the original Xbox One controller and the Xbox One Elite controller. These will both work, but you will need to plug in a USB cable, so we're going to have these as wired controllers. And here we just have a generic PC controller. Obviously this is already a wired cable. Now if you have a look here, you will see that I've got the Magic NS adapter currently set to blue mode, and I've got it plugged into a Brook converter. That's the PS4 to Wii U. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be syncing up these two, and then with these ones I'll be just plugging them in, and it will all work nice and easy. So let me show you that. So to begin with, I'm going to show you this one here, because this one is quite hard to sync up because it's just not quite as straightforward. So what we want to do is we want to hit the share button and the PlayStation button together, but a lot of people end up hitting this split second before this one, and then it doesn't work. So what I would suggest is just hit and hold the share button first, because the controller's not on, so it's not going to be causing any problems. Then hold down the PlayStation button, keep them both pressed for about 3 or 4 seconds, and it will enter pairing mode like that. Okay, now we're just going to tap the little sync button on the side of the Magic NS adapter you see just here. I'm just going to tap that little black button here at the side. It's a bit fiddly to get to. There we go, you can see now. And now these two should pair up. There you go, can you see now it's gone to solid blue? And this will now be working up on screen here. So let me just show you this quickly working, and then I'll move on to the other ones. Right, so if you have a look, you can see it's moving up here. And again with the D-pad you can see that's moving as well. So let's go to resume. And now if you have a look, you can see Mario up on screen there. So this will be dash, dash, jump and jump. Okay. Right, now let me show you the Xbox One S controller working. So with this one, we're just going to turn it on and hit the sync button up here. And you will see now it's flashing, and again we're just going to tap the sync button on the side of the Magic NS adapter. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. There we go. And now hopefully that will sync up after about 10 seconds. Now you can only connect up one controller at a time when you do this method here. You can't connect up two and have them both as 2 players. In fact, you can see this one has unsynced itself now. And there we go, this is now synced up, and if you have a look up on the screen, this is now working. So again, dash, dash, and this will be jump and jump. Okay, and you can see there. And then home. Right, okay, let's show you the Xbox One controller wired. So we're going to be using a USB to micro USB cable, so it's a very small one, and then we're going to be plugging in that one there. Basically these are the same sort of leads that you get with a lot of Android phones. They need to accept data and power. So now we're going to be plugging that into the Magic NS adapter there, and now that should, I can feel it vibrating. There we go, you can see it's working up there now. Simple as that. Go to resume, and again you will see Mario running and jumping there. And it will be exactly the same with the Xbox One Elite controller. Plug that in there. Okay, and straight away it's doing it. There we go. Okay, and D-pad again. Right, and lastly, the generic PC controller. So just plug that into the back there, and on this one I've got it set to X input on the back, and the mode is still the same up there. It's still on the blue mode up there, and if you have a look you can see that that's working there. So we're going to have dash, dash, jump and jump. Right, and home. You can see it moving around there. Right, okay, that's them lot. To use a keyboard and a mouse on the Wii U, it is possible. So if you have a look here, this is the setup we need. So to start with, we need a Brook converter. Then out of the Brook converter, we need the Cronus Max. We're going to be connecting the Cronus Max up via the programming port on the side. Now, if your laptop or your desktop allows it, you would be able to plug in your mouse, your keyboard and this programming lead here all into the desktop or laptop. But because this little GPD pocket only has one full-size USB, I'm having to use a little USB hub here. So if you have a look here, I've got my cable going off to the keyboard, I've got my little wireless receiver for the little gaming mouse here, and then I've got this going to the programming ports here. Now if you're looking here, you can see that this isn't actually plugged into the Wii U. So the Wii U doesn't have anything plugged into it. That's just because this is working wirelessly with the Wii U. So as long as this has power, this Brook converter here, it will work absolutely anywhere as long as it's in wireless range off the Wii U. So you don't have to have your computer sited right next to the Wii U. If it was on the other side of the room, it's still going to work. And believe it or not, you can't really notice much lag on it. Well, I can't. If you're a professional gamer, you might notice it, but not that I can notice. It all seems pretty lag free. So what's happening is, as long as this gets power, it's going to work, and it's actually getting this power from the socket rather than the plug. And then what you're going to be using is you're going to be using X-aim, and all you're doing is you're going to be mimicking, it's hard to see here, but you're going to be mimicking the different keys and stuff for the different inputs. So for example, you might have the left click to be the ZL and this will be ZR, in which case then you can program this any way you want. Depending on the game you're going to be using, it's up to you how you program it. So let me just show you a little bit of Splatoon working. So what I'm going to be doing is, this is going to be moving, looking around the characters, so like the camera moving around. To move the character around, it's going to be WASD, and then this is going to be the same as ZR, firing the ink, and this is going to be where you turn into the squid, ZL. Right, so if you have a look, you can see it move around on screen there. And do A here. I've just set it up as 2-player here so you can see it working. Right, so you can see now when I move my mouse, you can see that's just in shot there, but you can see it's looking around up on screen, and then when I click ZR, you can see it's firing the ink, and ZL will turn it into a squid, and then it's going to be W, S, A and D, E to jump. Right, okay. So obviously on different games you might want to set it up completely differently. And then if I click in here, you can see it's going to fire them. But if you're not comfortable with this setup, then obviously you can change it, because with X-aim you can do whatever you want to do. There we go, let's move on. Here we have the fight stick connected to the Wii U. So this is made by Mayflash. This is an F500, and basically we have it set to PS3, the D input up here, and it goes into, it's wired, it goes into a Magic NS adapter set to blue mode, which goes into the Brook PS4 to Wii U adapter. And basically if you have a look here, if it's set to XY, then it's going to mimic a analog stick, the left analog stick, like so. When I move this around, if I was to move it to D-pad, then it's going to mimic a D-pad like that. Okay, let's move it back to the hand there. If you have a look here, you can see moving around. Or for example, I can click there click back and go into game or YouTube or something. Right, okay, let's move on. So here we have a racing wheel working on the Wii U, and it's also got some pedals down there as well. So this is an old Thrustmaster one. This is one that used to do, I think it was called 3-in-1, PS2, PS3 and also PC. So you can see the little selection switch down there for PC and PS3. I've got it set to PS3 at the moment, and as you can see this cable goes off to the pedals, and this is the one that goes to the USB. It's also got the PS2 connection there, but we've plugged it in via the USB. Now to get it to work, I've got it plugged into the Magic NS adapter via the blue mode, and that goes into the Brook converter, the PS4 to Wii U. I can't get it to work when this is plugged straight into the Brook converter. It has to go via the Magic NS, which is a bit strange because this does work with PS3 controllers. So not too sure why, not sure what I'm doing wrong, but when I have it in this setup here, it does work. Now, if you're wondering why my Wii U looks different, it's because this is a different one. This is my portable one, so I've got different games on this. If you're interested in how to do a portable Wii U, please see my other video. So basically, as you can see, there's no power cable here. It's getting all its power supply from this power bank here, and then it just does go through a step-up converter to put it to 15 volts. So this outputs in 12 volts, steps up to 15, and it actually works pretty good. So the idea of this is you would put it in a vented backpack, and then you would use your gamepad over there, kind of similar to a Nintendo Switch, an old-fashioned Nintendo Switch. But in this setup here, you know, it's kind of pointless. It's just that I've got different games on here, so that's why I want to do this particular one. But as you can see, I haven't got actual power going into this. It's just HDMI out and also the sensor bar as well. Right, let me show you a bit of rock and racing off-road. Right, so as you can see, when I move the steering wheel here, you can see the hand moves up on screen. Remember, it's a steering wheel, so it's only going to be left and right, but I can use the D-pad to move around to the other things on the screen. Like so. But as you can see just from that hand there, it does seem quite responsive again. Right, okay, let's go to resume. I'm going to use the pedals, right pedal. Let's go to championship. Going to go to, let's go down to Europe Cup, make it a bit more interesting. And go to start championship. So it's going to be right foot to accelerate, left foot to brake. I'm going to keep them both hovering over there because on this game sometimes you need to brake around the corners at the same time as accelerating to kind of give you a bit of a drift, and I'm just going to be steering with my hands. So I'm the black one on the bottom left hand side there, just coming up on the outside. Problem with this game is this game takes a bit of getting used to, and it is quite a lot of fun. But the other cars, the computer generated cars, they always knock you off the track, and it can be annoying because you can be in the lead and then one will come up, hit into you, and then all of a sudden you're out of the game, because once you're behind it's kind of hard to catch up on this. Unlike that, that was my own fault there. Now on this steering wheel here you can adjust the sensitivity as well. So on different games it might be better to have it more or less sensitive. I haven't actually played around on this one. Something like Mario Kart 8 might be fun on this. I thought I was in last, I'm in third. Not as bad as I thought. Right, okay, but you get the idea of that there. So steering wheels might make certain games more fun. Right, okay, let's move on to something else. To get the Nintendo Switch Pro controller to work, we just need to use the Magic NS adapter from Mayflash and the Brook converter PS4 to Wii U. And if you have a look here, you can use a D-pad to scroll around like this, or use a left analog stick. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the HD rumble every time you go over something. Right, okay, let me show you the Joy-Cons working. So here we have the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons working as a pair, so they are actually operating as a pair. So to sync them up we just need to use the Magic NS adapter, exactly the same as the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which goes into the Brook PS4 to Wii U converter. Now, it will take a little bit of time to sync them up, because what normally happens is you will sync up one, and then you will go to sync up the next one, but then the first one will turn itself off. So then you just need to turn that one on again, and they should both sync up. If you're having problems, sync them both up independently, and then you can play around with it. So for example, maybe you can try turning this one off first, turning this one on, and then turn this one on, and you will get it where they will both sync together at the same time. And if you have a look there, you can see it moving around up here. Right, let's go back to the Wii U menu just to show you that. Right, and again you can see it's working here, and you can also move it around with the D-pad again. Right, okay, let's move on. So here we have the U-Force, which was designed back for the NES system, and this is basically like a hands-free controller. So what happens is you just move over the sensors with your hands like this, and it corresponds to movements up on screen. You can just see them move along there. It's incredibly hard to use, but I've got it set up to the Wii U just for a bit of fun. So it's using the same setup as the NES, so we're going through this Mayflash SNES to NES adapter. This goes into the Cronus Max because I have to change the settings to make sense of the buttons, so you have to program it, and it goes into the Brook converter again, the PS4 to Wii U. Right, let me show you a little bit of Super Mario 3D World. Right, okay, so I've got left and right over here, so that's left and that's right, and then I've got, I think this one here is down and this one here is up, and then this one will be A and this one will be B. So let's go over to resume, A, 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 and then I can choose my character, be Luigi, right, and as you can see now, you can see Luigi moving around on screen there, down, up, that would be jump, let's go into this, just show you a little bit of this working. Right, okay. Obviously this is not an ideal way to play. Even back on the NES system it was deemed a bit of a failure because it was just so hard. But it's kind of clever. Right, so you get the idea of it there. Yeah, you can see how it's supposed to work. Right, so that basically is it. As you can see, if you really want to, you can actually connect up pretty much anything to the Wii U system when you go via adapter after adapter. Now in the real world you're probably not going to do this because of the cost of the adapters. It would be cheaper just to go and buy yourself a Wii U Pro controller, but this video is just for fun, just experimenting to see what works on it when you try various different things. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.